Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms. The weekend's here, and I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the Lightning Flash update right here on YouTube.com. You already know who I am, the face of controversy and the only wrestling news source that you need. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about this week as far as the weekly shows and the reports go. I have a lot of reports on the weekly shows, SummerSlam, and a lot of plans that could tie into the future Raw and SmackDown brand exclusive pay-per-views and possibly Survivor Series. So, why don't we get right into the weekly show reviews. Monday Night Raw this week, I will say this. I'm going to give the people who have been claiming that Monday Night Raw should be 2 hours again a pass. Because the first 2 hours of Monday Night Raw is all you need this week. If anything, Monday Night Raw should have been flip-flopped. The matches that happened in the first hour should have happened in the second. Segments that happened in the third hour should have happened in the first. And the second hour material should have happened in the third. Should have flip-flopped everything. Everything was out of order. Show started off with Kurt Angle. He kicked us off. He basically said, "Thank you for all your support." He's going to make SummerSlam a must-see event. Brock Lesnar comes out, completely unadvertised. Heyman then questions why Kurt Angle would put Brock Lesnar in a fatal four-way. And he basically stated, "You were told to get the Universal title off of my client." Angle didn't even have a chance to speak. And basically, Heyman laid out an ultimatum. If Brock Lesnar loses the Universal title at SummerSlam, he will leave WWE, and Paul Heyman's leaving with him. Isn't that what Lesnar already does? Doesn't he just come back for the big four pay-per-views and then he leaves? But anyway, this should be very, very interesting. Because now, people have to be wondering, okay, if Lesnar really is leaving WWE, who is going to win the Universal title? We have three choices, two of which people crave, one of which people reject. We're going to have to wait until SummerSlam to find out, but I do have news on the Universal title match for SummerSlam, which we will get into later. Matt and Jeff Hardy then defeated Gallows and Anderson of the Club in a very good match, and an even better segment took place after the match, when the Revival, the Hardys, and the Club had a standoff out on the stage, which resulted in a brawl that ended in the Hardy Boys standing tall after Jeff Hardy did a poetry in motion off of the stage. I assume that this is going to lead to a triple threat tag team match at SummerSlam, where the Revival will get their big win on the big stage of SummerSlam, which would result in them becoming #1 contenders for the Raw tag team titles. It seems like they're laying out everything nice and smoothly for the Revival to pick up the bones and ascend to greatness in the tag team division. I mean, it would only make sense. The Revival's the best heel team they got in the tag team division. Then, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins had a backstage segment in which Dean basically stated he still doesn't trust Seth Rollins. He got burned by him once and he won't be burned by him again. Seth Rollins then had an altercation with the Raw Tag Team Champions, Sheamus and Cesaro, in which they mocked Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins challenged one of them to a one-on-one match later on in the night, and Sheamus accepted. Akira Tozawa, Cedric Alexander, and Rich Swann defeated Tony Nese, TJP, and Arya Daivari. It was a very fun match, and I'm glad that the Cruiserweights got time for this six-man tag team match, and I like the fact that a lot of Cruiserweights were showcased in this match. Very fun match. There was dives, there was technical wrestling, there was hot tags, and Akira Tozawa won it for his team. And they're really playing off this shoulder injury as something serious. And who knows, it could play a weakness in Tozawa's match against Neville, which I will get to, or it could play strength. Because Neville could be so focused on targeting that shoulder that he could underestimate Tozawa. So then, we had a Miz TV segment with Jason Jordan. Miz actually asked Jason Jordan to join his group. He said no, and then he took out all three men with one suplex. He belly-to-belly suplexed Miz into Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Now, I know what you're all thinking. And yes, I'm thinking the same thing too. Jason Jordan is very, very generic. He's very generic, but you give him time, he'll improve. This is one of those cases where time will improve him. As he gets more experienced in the WWE, he will improve. It happened with Cena, happened with Orton, happened with The Shield, happened with Sheamus, happened with Cesaro. It'll happen with Jason Jordan. Just got to give him time. Seth Rollins then defeated Sheamus. I thought this match went a little too quick, but I knew where this was going. Cesaro and Sheamus then attacked Seth Rollins. Ambrose came out to try and make the save, but it backfired and resulted in Cesaro laying out both Rollins and Ambrose. This is playing out perfectly to the report that Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are going to challenge Cesaro for the Raw Tag Team titles. It's not been finalized yet. Should be finalized last week. Then on to the best promo of the week. Or should I say of the week? No, I should not say of the week. This promo was rivaling with the Fashion Peaks promo, which I will get into after this Raw review. Bray Wyatt then came out and he called Pittsburgh pitiful, saying you live vicariously through Finn Balor and you've created this mentality where if you get knocked down, you can get back up, you can do it. And he said, what the hell are you going to do when Bray Wyatt knocks you down and you ain't getting back up? And Finn Balor followed through on his promise to play some mind games with Bray Wyatt. He came out, basically put his back to Bray Wyatt with his hand stretched out, basically figuratively saying, hit me. And as Bray Wyatt came closer to Finn Balor delivered a Pele kick to Bray Wyatt, and then Bray Wyatt fell to the outside. Finn Balor then drop-kicked Bray Wyatt over the barricade. So, it was a very, very, very good segment. I like the way that they're playing out this Finn Balor-Bray Wyatt feud, and in many senses of the word, Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor is a dream match. And I'm going to be extremely, extremely interested how they play this match out at SummerSlam, although it has not been finalized yet. And I'm assuming that we might see the return of the Demon King, which I'm pretty sure everyone's been waiting for ever since Finn Balor had returned. Then, Roman Reigns defeated Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe. It was a good triple threat match. It was not the greatest, but it was a good triple threat match. I like this match because nobody kicked out of any finishers. And I was okay that Roman Reigns won. Mainly because he wasn't being made to look like Superman. Everyone got in what they should have got in. And the reason why I'm okay with Roman Reigns winning this, as long as he does not win the Universal title at SummerSlam. Because then, in turn, that would just basically state that you built Roman Reigns up to be Superman once again after he's had this feud with Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman has been really getting the better of him. And then after that, at that point, the show was over for everybody, including myself. But I continued to watch. So then Elias has joined the club of people who have got their names shafted. Yeah, I mean, I think Vince McMahon thinks that we must have a case of Alzheimer's, because we remember Big E Langston, we remember Antonio Cesaro, we remember Adrian Neville, we remember Elias Sampson, we remember Colin Cassidy. Big Cass is his nickname, but now they made it his full name. I mean, come on. What's wrong with this? And TJP too? Come on. Just have these guys stick with one name. And what really bothers me is the fact that they got nothing to do with these talented guys like Elias Sampson and Kalisto and Apollo Crews and Rusev and Sami Zayn. And forget about Sami Zayn. I'm going to rip what happened with Sami Zayn on SmackDown to shreds once we get into that. But Elias defeated Kalisto, nobody cared. Bayley then defeated Nia Jax via countout in a very, very sloppy match. And this resulted in Bayley hurting her shoulder. Now, I heard a early diagnosis on Bayley's condition, and the doctor stated in an early diagnosis that Bayley could possibly be out for 2 to 3 months. This is bad news for Bayley, considering her Raw Women's title match with Alexa Bliss is in a few weeks. Big Cass then got a new theme song. That was the best part of the main event. Big Show lost via DQ because Enzo interfered, and then Big Show knocked out Cass. We all know why this match main evented, because Vince McMahon got a proverbial hard-on every time he looks at Cass. In other words, the sun is yellow, Antarctica is cold, Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, and my hair is black. Nothing new here, people. Nothing new. But anyway, that was Raw. The first 2 hours is all you need. Then on to SmackDown. This was the best show of the week. AJ Styles then defeated Kevin Owens to open the show. This is how every single wrestling show should start, with a wrestling match. AJ defeated Kevin Owens for the United States Championship in the rematch that Owens had invoked a week prior. Owens' shoulder was clearly up, but the ref didn't see it because he was punched directly in the eye by Kevin Owens, and they played that off as the ref couldn't see, and Kevin Owens got screwed out of the match. And then Kevin Owens went backstage, started complaining to Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, I want a rematch, and I want a ref who won't go down with a gust of wind. Daniel Bryan basically stated, yeah, you'll get your rematch. Shane's the referee. Basically, Shane obliged and said, the only way you're getting your rematch is if I'm as the ref. And they have booked that match for SummerSlam, and I'm assuming this should be the end of the feud. The Usos then mocked the New Day, basically stated that, you cheer for these pathetic guys. We're going to continue to run this tag team division because the Usos rock. Then, in the best segment of the night, the Fashion Files spin-off series continued, except this time it was Welcome to the Fashion Peaks. Tyler Breeze is going it alone. He's trying to find out what happened to Fandango, and then he was having this dream where Fandango was in a red outfit. He was laughing, and the Ascension had a piece of wood, and they were drizzling it with honey. And Tyler Breeze yet again gave us a quote of the year, screaming, "No more metaphors." Fantastic. And then he said, I know who kidnapped Dongo. So I believe we are going to find out what happened to Fandango next week. Aiden English defeated Sami Zayn. What the fuck are you doing, Vince McMahon? What are you doing? Aiden English should not be defeating Sin Cara, let alone Sami Zayn and Ty Dillinger. That's how you treat two of your most valuable superstars on SmackDown Live. You have them lose to a wannabe opera singer. I got nothing against Aiden English, but Aiden English should not be losing to Sami Zayn, or should not be defeating Sami Zayn or Ty Dillinger. Sami Zayn should be in a match with John Cena at SummerSlam. Not in this waste of time feud with Maria and Mike Kanellis. And then they mocked Sami Zayn after the match. So we went from one of the worst booking decisions of the year to a match in which nobody gave a shit about. I certainly didn't give a shit about it. And Becky Lynch and Naomi defeated Carmella and Natalya, and nobody cared. Then we actually got to something of substance. Jinder Mahal had a backstage interview. He basically claimed that nobody can defeat the modern-day Maharaja. Nobody will end his reign, and he's going to watch the main event from his personal skybox. Great cocky heel persona, and this is why I love Jinder Mahal. This is why I like Jinder Mahal. Something new, something fresh, something that has really never been done before. The first ever Indian WWE champion, and the fact that he's playing up to the fact that he feels entitled to respect. Then we go from a great promo to an even better match. Rusev defeated Chad Gable, in which was a great match. Chad Gable, he is a beast, and he can go. He can really go. He had a barrage of suplexes, an ankle lock, a moonsault. Unfortunately, he did not win, but he had a great showing. And Rusev defeated Chad Gable with the accolade. Rusev then said to everyone that John Cena never pinned me at Battleground. Everybody is scared of me, and I want a match at SummerSlam. Randy Orton then came out basically said, you know, you've never beaten me. And if you want a SummerSlam opponent, you got one. And then he delivered the RKO to Rusev. So now we have Randy Orton versus Rusev at SummerSlam. And I'm assuming that Rusev is going to get his big win and possibly go into a United States title feud or a WWE Championship feud after SummerSlam. Because after SummerSlam, Orton's taking some time off. That's been the report going around. And in the main event, it was a great match, but I would have had these guys go another 30 minutes. And Shinsuke Nakamura defeated John Cena. Fantastic match, and John Cena did everything he could to put down Nakamura, and Nakamura kept on kicking out. He went for a third attitude adjustment. Nakamura reversed it into his reverse exploder, and Cena got dropped right on the back of his head. Right here. Right on his neck. It looked like we were going to have a similar scenario from SummerSlam 2008 when Batista broke John Cena's neck. But Cena, like the beast that he is, like the professional beast that he is, he got up, took the Kinshasa, and then after Nakamura won, Nakamura shook Cena's hand. Nakamura said, "I'm sorry." Cena said, "Don't be sorry." Cena is one tough son of a bitch. I don't care what the hell you think of him. He is one tough son of a bitch, and I am liking this Cena a hell of a lot better than the Cena from 5 years ago. I'm really liking it. But the show wasn't over there. Before 205 Live even started, Baron Corbin then attacked after SmackDown Live went off the air. And John Cena then saved Shinsuke Nakamura and then delivered an AA through the announce table. So I'm assuming that Baron Corbin and John Cena are going to have a match at SummerSlam. And then 205 Live got underway. Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick had a match, and it ended in a disqualification. Almost said double disqualification. Mainly because Jack Gallagher just continued to beat down Kendrick. I'm liking this new aggressive side of Jack Gallagher, and it could bring him to a Cruiserweight Championship reign. But right now, he's locked in a feud with the Brian Kendrick. Tony Nese then defeated Gran Metalik in a very good match. It was great to see Gran Metalik back on TV. It looked like he hadn't missed a beat. Gran Metalik looked fantastic in defeat. They had Gran Metalik pull off every single move possible, and Tony Nese won with his patented running knee in the corner. So I'm assuming that they're trying to build up Tony Nese for a top heel run in the Cruiserweight division. Otherwise, then I don't really know why they're showcasing Tony Nese this much. He got a victory last week in the tag team match, and now he got a victory this week over Gran Metalik. So they must be building him up to be a top heel. They must be building him up to take Neville's place. I know that sounds like that's a big hole to fill, but Neville, it almost looks like Neville could be dropping the Cruiserweight title. And this really showed in the main event match, mainly because Akira Tozawa defeated Arya Daivari to earn another shot against Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship. And they're really playing up this underdog story with Akira Tozawa. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do at SummerSlam with Akira Tozawa and Neville. I'm actually pulling for Tozawa. I want Tozawa. Although I love Neville as the cocky, arrogant king of the Cruiserweights heel that he is, I want to see something new. And Tozawa would be a fantastic, fantastic Cruiserweight champion. Next, NXT, final show. Johnny Gargano defeated Raul Mendoza to kick off the show. It was a decent match, and Johnny Gargano won with the armlock crossface. Looked pretty brutal. So I'm assuming that this is going to result in Johnny Gargano getting a match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. There's still rumors going around, and I reported this a few weeks ago, that Johnny Gargano will be facing Andrade Cien Almas at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Bobby Roode then had a sit-down interview, and he called for a interview in the ring next week with Drew McIntyre. Roderick Strong then attacked. William Regal said, "You got to get your act together." Roderick Strong said, "I don't care what I have to do. Give me Bobby Roode." William Regal said, "My hands are tied. It's McIntyre and Roode at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn." So I'm assuming this may result in Roderick Strong doing anything in his power to get himself into the NXT title picture at TakeOver Brooklyn. So we could be looking at a triple threat match. Dare I say it. Sanity versus the Authors of Pain was then advertised for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, which I am ecstatic about. This should be a fantastic match. And this is very unpredictable. We don't know who's going to come out victorious. The past few Authors of Pain NXT title matches, it was kind of obvious. It was kind of obvious. We already knew who was going to come out victorious. But this time, very, very unpredictable. We don't know if Sanity is going to finally be the one to dethrone the AOP, or if the AOP are going to continue their dominance. Asuka then returned, basically said no one's ready for Asuka. Ember Moon then came out and said, maybe you're scared of the truth. And the truth is, you're not ready for Ember Moon. This resulted in Ember Moon hitting the Eclipse on Asuka, and Asuka sold it like a boss. So Ember Moon getting the first shot in before NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Sonya Deville then defeated a local athlete, and no one really cared. Sonya Deville really playing up to this cocky heel, I'm just going to kick your ass persona. I'm not sure where this is going. I'm assuming that she's going to play a top heel possibly within the next 8 months, because right now she's just in the beginning stages. The Street Profits are going to debut next week, and Andrade Cien Almas versus No Way Jose was also advertised for next week. Hideo Itami then came out to the ring, basically demanded respect. Basically stating, you all will respect me. I will not tolerate any more disrespect, especially from Cassius Ohno. Aleister Black. Holy shit, Aleister Black came out. And he knocked Hideo out cold. Knocked him out cold. And then, to top it all off, he defeated a former Ring of Honor champion, Kyle O'Reilly, in a hard-hitting affair. And on top of that, get this, and the cherry on top of the cake, Aleister Black will take on Hideo Itami at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Fantastic. A fantastic sequence of events that transpired in the main event of this week's NXT. Fantastic. Now then, let's get into the news, rumors, and reports, shall we? I'm going to start off the news, rumors, and reports section with my shout-out to Mr. Slice Wrestling. Follow him at Slice Wrestling. And he reported that Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe are being discussed as top contenders to take the Universal title off of Brock Lesnar if it is to change hands at SummerSlam. Also, Slice Wrestling also reported that John Cena is expected to make his first Raw appearance as a free agent on the Raw after SummerSlam. And I also got some more news on Cena. Multiple sources, even WWE, has advertised John Cena for the Raw brand exclusive pay-per-view No Mercy on September 24th of this year. So there's a huge possibility that John Cena is going to be moving to Raw, and he's not just going to play up to this free agent gimmick. So there could very well be another superstar shakeup after SummerSlam, and John Cena could be moving to Raw. I would not be against it. I feel that John Cena has done all he could on SmackDown Live. Moving on, recent reports have confirmed that the Great Khali's appearance, as well as Chris Jericho's appearance, was a one-and-done situation, as both of them are not scheduled for any future WWE events, whether they may be televised or non-televised. So it's good news and bad news. Good news that the Great Khali is not going to be on WWE TV anymore, but bad news that Chris Jericho may not be on WWE TV for another few months. I believe he's still on tour and he's still advertising for his whole Fozzy situation and all that. So after Raw, Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that Bayley may have a shoulder injury. And yes, WWE did finalize this after Monday Night Raw. And we're still not sure how serious this shoulder injury is. This is Brian Alvarez's words. And I'm not sure how this is really going to play into Bayley's match with Alexa Bliss. I mean, John Cena, he did face off against Daniel Bryan with a torn tricep and fluid in his elbow. So, I mean, if Bayley goes ahead and fights Alexa at SummerSlam with this shoulder injury, I would have mad respect for Bayley. But at the same time, you got to think about your health. This is actually pretty interesting. Sting, yes, Sting, said in a Facebook live stream earlier this week that he can still wrestle, he just doesn't want to. But he will consider an on-air television role, kind of like how Kurt Angle is currently doing his general manager role. This seems very, very interesting. Very, very interesting nonetheless. Could Sting be returning to the ring? Is Vince McMahon currently in negotiation with Sting? Only time will tell. This seems very interesting. SmackDown Live advertised this week that Hell in a Cell is returning on October 8th in the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan as a SmackDown Live exclusive pay-per-view. Cage Side Seats reported that Becky Lynch may have been injured in her tag team match with Naomi on SmackDown Live. I did not really catch this. Supposedly they're planning Becky Lynch versus an MMA fighter. And listen, I don't follow MMA or UFC, so I don't know the names of these broads. If you want to tell me them, leave them in the comments section. Justin Barasho of SportsIllustrated.com is reporting that Paul Heyman, behind the scenes, is pushing for Samoa Joe to win the Universal title at SummerSlam, which would allow Lesnar to have more time to prepare for his UFC comeback. This is very, very interesting. I am actually extremely, extremely excited that this rumor came out because I've wanted Samoa Joe to become Universal Champion for 5 months now. Ever since he defeated Sami Zayn at Fastlane, I've wanted him to become Universal Champion. And in his match with Lesnar, I believed. They made you believe that Samoa Joe was going to do it. I thought Samoa Joe was going to do it. But unfortunately, you already know how that played out. But this time, Samoa Joe could very well become Universal Champion. And I am ecstatic. I cannot wait for SummerSlam. I cannot wait to see that triple threat match. I think it's probably going to be one of the top contenders for match of the year. And my final 2 reports of today come from the #1 wrestling news source out there. #1 wrestling news source out there. I know I can be a little cocky at times, and I know I'm stating I'm the only wrestling source that you need, but this guy, without a doubt, is #1. He's #1, and there is no one higher than him. Dave Meltzer, good old Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, reported that WWE currently right now does not know what to do with Enzo Amore, considering that, Big Cass is in line for a singles push, and Enzo's just floating around. They threw around the idea of putting him in the Cruiserweight division, but WWE officials do not feel that Enzo can keep up with the fast-paced action on 205 Live. Another idea was to move him to SmackDown in the second ever Superstar Shakeup. So now this would be the second superstar rumored to switch brands in the Superstar Shakeup. First John Cena, now Enzo. We're going to have to see how that plays out, or if a Superstar Shakeup would even take place. There's also been rumors that they might send Enzo back down to NXT, because the crowd loves him back down in NXT. And my second report for Meltzer was that he also reported that Jason Jordan is right now scheduled to win the Intercontinental Championship from The Miz at SummerSlam, and Miz will go into a feud with Kurt Angle, similar to what he did with Daniel Bryan on SmackDown Live, in which could result in Miz preaching and vying for the return of Stephanie McMahon, since he feels that Kurt Angle is being biased by giving his son an Intercontinental Championship title shot. This could very well result in Kurt Angle taking on Triple H, possibly either at Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, or WrestleMania. We don't know how long this storyline is going to get dragged out, but we know it could probably be one of the best things on WWE television, considering it's Kurt Angle and the fact that The Miz is one of the best talkers in the game. You already know how I feel about The Miz, so I'm excited that The Miz is going to lose the title, but I'm not taking away from what The Miz can do. So I'm actually very interested to see if this plan comes to be. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. You already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at DDog316. Follow me on Twitter at #1WWE fan. Do not forget to keep a close eye out for the Eye of the Storm. I have been getting in contact with that former WWE and WCW superstar. By the way, do not forget, if you missed the Lightning Flash Update last week, you have your chance to go check that out right now. Do not forget to keep a close eye out, because I'm going to get the rundown for WWE SummerSlam up a little early. I should be able to get it up either on Friday or the Saturday before SummerSlam. It's one busy month. I have a busy month ahead of me. I got the interview with that former WCW superstar. I have a couple more Lightning Flash updates to do, and now I have the rundown for SummerSlam to do. It is one busy month. One busy month. And do not forget to do all that stuff that I just stated to you. I'm so excited for SummerSlam. I'm so excited for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And you know what? Maybe I'm thinking about this. I'm gonna put this out on a poll. I might as well put this out on a poll on Twitter. I'm going to put this out on a poll, and I'm going to state if I should do a rundown for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. And if you guys vote yes, I'm going to do it. Never forget, keep on watching out for the Eye of the Storm. Like I said, you never know where I'm going to show up and who I'm going to bring along. Until then, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, the face of controversy. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. You guys have a great weekend.